Good morning, everyone. I beat you. Good morning, Tonia Reeves here, Australia's Cowgirl medium, and I am joined by the awesome Tony Kiss, the owner of the amazing Human Repair Shop in downtown Sydney. That is an absolute legendary place. And you know what? It's the most commented photo, Tony, from when I went to Sydney. Was the photo when I stood outside and of the Human Repair Shop and in front of the banner. So it's getting noticed.
It's getting noticed, Tonia. It's like the streets of Hollywood where the pavements are paved with the stars' names, and it becomes the place to go to be seen and to be photographed. Human Repair Shops where it's at. Margaret, good morning, Margaret. How are you? Tonia Reeves, how are you? Hi, everybody else on there in the wonderful world of Facebook and the TNT community. Good to have you all on board. It's been a roller coaster of ride, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming into end of October. What has happened to time, Tonia Reeves? What is happening?
It's been a full-on month. It really is a full-on month, and it's an extra long month because we've got 31 days this month. So just energetically, there's so much happening, and I think everyone's been sort of had things torn apart and re-put back together almost.
Oh, tell me more about this, Margaret. You're on board today. If you're out there, say hi, like Karen. Karen said, "Morning, good morning. How are you, Karen?"
Hey, Karen.
Good to have you on board.
Yeah, what's been happening for you guys? I just think energetically, like this month's been a real, for a lot of people, there's been big decisions made and, almost like things they haven't addressed previously this year we're being forced to look at. So this can often be shadow self. It can often be situations you're in that you maybe thought were good, then all of a sudden, we're being shown that it's, there's another side to it. So, yeah, that's a really interesting month. And for those that are probably due for a change and due to do things differently, it's a good month to do that.
Well, you're right. Absolutely. Lorinda Cash is on board, and she's one of the experts in this field of having things been turned around and flipped around a little bit. So, Lorinda, if you'd like to share, that'd be great. Love Lorinda, love the surname Cash. Love it.
Great, isn't it?
It's a great one. It reminds me of, first thing that comes into my mind is Johnny Cash. And so
it is. It's cool as.
Avichka, hello. Go on. Something's rising.
Hello, people like a phoenix rising. I'm ready for what next year brings. Hello, 45. Love it.
Yes.
Love it, Avichka. We've got a 5-year next year, so it's 2023. So that will be about change and movement and then a bit of a fast pace. So it's kind of exciting because I think
it is exciting.
This year's kind of been a bit slower overall.
Jesus Christ, try being where I am.
Yeah,
Sydney doesn't slow down for anything. Sydney's just like a million miles an hour. You live in country Victoria. You have a blissful life. We have an accelerator for our accelerator just in case the first 15 don't work. It's like, yay, Sydney. Let's keep that tempo going.
Absolutely. Hey, and I have to mention, Tony, I forgot to mention last week. So when we were up in Sydney and got to catch up with you guys, got to do the show, and while I was at the Human Repair Shop, I got a little spiky ball and a knuckle. And I know you've shown us those here on the show before, but seriously, that spiky ball saved my back because our motorhome that we picked up, the bed was like on steel. And at one point in time, my back's normally fine, but I woke up through the night and I was in so much pain. And I went, where's that spiky ball? So I just got it, put it where it needed to be, fix me.
Yeah, fantastic. And they are good. They are really good. I'm glad that you got some relief out of it. It's the physio away from the physio clinic. It's a physio at home or on the road, as Tonia Reeves has just experienced. Yeah, they are great. Look, and it's good that you got some relief. And they're dirt cheap for $15. And then the knuckles are $12. They are just, I think, from a therapeutic point of view, they are absolutely brilliant. We went to Kangaroo Valley on the weekend and we did a Pilates demonstration for a whole lot of triathletes, which is great. It was down at Kangaroo Valley, so about 2 hours out from Sydney. And we showed them some home remedies they could take. So when they're, working out, they're in a little bit of pain, like they might have back pain or glute pain or hand pain. And we just taught them how to use the spiky ball and the knuckle. And they, same as you, Tonia, absolutely loved it.
It's great to have, if because for the most part, when those things play up, it's when you're not, it's either a weekend or through the night, so you can't get in to get your appointment straight away. And it just gives you that bit of relief to then go and say, right, now I need repairing. Like,
100%.
I've had relief from the pain.
Look, don't forget, as therapists, and as everybody on this feed knows, everybody knows on this feed, you want your client to get better and you want them to be out of pain. However they get there, you don't really care. As long as they've got some way of getting out of pain, that's the most important thing. So for us as therapists, we're like, take a spiky ball, take a knuckle. Are we talking ourselves out of a job? Absolutely, 110%. And do we like that? Yeah, because the client's happy and they're being looked after and they can learn how to look after themselves a little bit. And then we look after the more complicated stuff that a spiky ball's not going to do or a knuckle's not going to quite do. But yeah, I love those little things. It's been great. Let's have a look at what's going on there. I'd like to know what's going on in the world today. I would like to know what's going on with you people. I really want to connect with the community here. Tell me there's a couple of people where Jen says, hello, Jen, how are you? Hopefully your internet is going to be, we're going to send you positive vibes, which means jack shit when it comes to internet, but we're going to send you positive vibes that you have a stronger internet connection. Good luck with that, NBN. But she says she's found her spiky ball again. Avichka goes here. Would you like to read Avichka's one? Avichka's on fire today.
Change is good for the soul, right? Yeah. Look, I always say, I feel like I'm on repeat, and I know Tony's mentioned this too. The only constant in life is change. And I think we have to create pathways to be able to handle change, because nothing stays the same. And I think this is a great share of Ichka in that, even if you don't want to, I can feel huge changes with this birthday and year ahead. So for many people, it's, that change is being felt right now and leading into next year. So we have to be comfortable sometimes being uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's true. Here you go, Avichka. I'm going to ask you, I like this. I like that you're ready for change. Nobody likes change, Tonia. Nobody at all.
I do.
Yeah, but you're a hairdresser. How, okay, here you go. Talking about change, Avichka, you've brought in a good thing. Let's talk about change. As a hairdresser, how often would people keep the same hairstyle and how often would they change a hairstyle? So
it usually reflects the person. You see, people that love change will constantly change it around. Those that are like their routine. Even when we had the hair salon, we did workshops where you tapped into people's personality types, because that helped you be able to navigate either creating a change for somebody or giving them different options and being able to explain what you're going to do in their language, And that was what always fascinated me, because I was like, you've got some people that like to know the process. So they like you to go through step by step what you're going to be doing. You've got others that just want the end result, that go, this is the picture, that's what I want. And you could stand there and tell them how you're going to do it. And they're like, I don't want to know. The variations, I think there's about 4 different types. I can't remember the other 2 offhand, but it was quite fascinating, because when
I'm interested. Yeah, I love that.
That was really good.
I'm interested from the people out there on TNT community. How many of you guys change your hairstyle every time you go to a hairdresser or a barber? Or how many of you keep the same? Look, traditionally me, what do you think I do, Tonia, with my hairstyle? Do you think I'll change it, or do you think it's going to be exactly the same? Like this? Same. I think I've had this haircut. Geez, ladies and gents, I'm 49 now. Let's dial back some time here. I went through photos when I was in my 20s, back in the 90s, early 90s. I used to have long curly hair. And then I think I went to this in the 2000s. That's right. We had to wear a suit when I was in corporate world. I had to grow up. And ever since that, I fear change of my hairstyle. I'm like, no, not going to do it. So what about you guys? Throw out there. I want to know if you change or if you stay the same. Now, Lorinda Cash, she comes in. She goes, well, I recently completed my diploma and I have a big decision to make regarding my work and my family life and struggle. So not sure I'm an expert. Lorinda, give us some more information.
None of us are experts, Lorinda. No, don't worry about it. We're all just throwing our 5 cents worth in.
I'm an expert of not knowing, Lorinda, if that is. But somebody on the community here, Lorinda, might be able to help us. So let's dig a little bit deeper so we can help you out best, Lorinda. What is it for you? Like, you've completed your diploma, and and you say you got big decisions to make. So what are some of the big decisions specifically? And then when you get a little bit more specific, we can throw it back out there, and hopefully somebody's either experienced it themselves or somebody's got some really good hints for you. So that would be really cool to share that. G'day, Leanne. How are you? Good to see you on board. Margaret replied, jack shit.
What's been happening, Leanne? I haven't heard from you for ages. Is it still with the scaffolding, balancing work? I haven't caught up with Leanne for a long time. Jen's popped in here. Jen's moving and shaking along here. She's got some good inspiration. She's been doing more courses, emotion code unblocking, stuck emotional, and digging deeper. I'm meditating again. I have ordered business cards and I'm taking clients for access bars. More will come. I'm collecting modalities. I love this. That's so great. So that's healing others with many different modalities is such a powerful tool.
Look, this is a really powerful form of therapy that Jen's going into, Tonia. You can see this yourself. Jen, I love that you're a constant learner. You've got this natural thirst for knowledge, which is just a beautiful thing. Make sure you do share the love and you do help others with it as well. Sometimes we can be guilty of taking too much knowledge on board and never sharing the love. And what I'm going to share with you here, Jen, is emotion code and unblocking emotional, I suppose, trauma and things like. Now, this is a really powerful thing to do, because what will happen is in the line of work that we do is that we look for patterns, and we look for normally a pattern that, let's say a pattern that is not going to serve a purpose for you too well. So, for example, that you go into a relationship, and every time you go into a relationship, you think that person's going to be unfaithful, although they're not, and you've got this emotional, let's say, code or a block there where you don't let that person actually into your life, and you don't know why. And sometimes to come in and unblock that, or look at that what was that trigger that got you there first? What was that emotion that you feel like was getting blocked or threatened or whatever it may be? And you built up a strategy around that so that could never happen again. And Jen, it's really nice, deep work. You're going to do some beautiful work around there. I absolutely love what you're doing. It's I wish you all the best. If you follow that path, I think you'll get a lot of good work. The only thing is, there's a couple of things, Jen, if you do go down it, this is one where you've got to tease it out of them, because you're getting to the core. When you get to the emotional stuff, you're getting to the core. The cognitive stuff, the psychological stuff is easier to deal with, because we're dealing with how people think and how they react. And we can alter the way people perceive something or think of something, but feel the emotional component, now that's getting to the core of it. That's where you're really, really making an impact in the human being's life. I'm excited for you. Really, really excited for you. That's my
cool,
two bits. Yeah, I'm really excited for you, Jen. Absolutely.
Lorinda's popped in a response here too. Well, to put it simply, I'm not sure if I want to stay where I'm currently working, and my relationship at home is struggling, and I don't know what to do. So, Lorinda, do you mean that your relationship's struggling because of where you're working? So are you not happy at work and then coming home and that's affecting your relationship? Or are you happy at work but it's putting a strain on the relationship? Because sometimes too, it's about working out where the strain's coming from. Is it from work or is it from home?
Yeah, exactly. Look, it's a good point. You gotta try to work out where it's going. It's a good question, Ton. And the other thing is the poor girl, poor Lorinda. I like you sharing this. So let's jump on board, TNT. Let's see what we've got here for Lorinda. You've got a couple of things. So you've got, you don't know if you want to stay where you are, and I'm guessing where you are working. So you're looking at career-wise, and now you're looking at relationship-wise. Now, they're two major parts of your life, which is family and work. So sometimes, Lorinda, you've got to ask yourself, you've just finished your studies. And this is the first thing I'd ask Lorinda. If I was going to, I go, what are your stress levels like? And what are your fatigue levels like? And if you're really burnt out and you're really stressed, then everything's going to look really bad at the moment. So sometimes you just need a breather, and not to make, I know it sounds, Lorinda, don't take this wrong way, but Tonia, sometimes it's best not to make a decision, just to sit back and let the dust settle, and then, work out what's got to happen. Sometimes I don't know if that, I'd be, if anybody else can throw out some good stuff, that'll be really great. But there's a couple of major decisions that you've got to, major areas of your life that feel like they're being impacted.
I've got to bring up Kim's as well. Kim, I'm just having a laugh. But Margaret, I'll bring up Margaret. So I really love Margaret's share. She's always got a great share for us to read. Karate black belts are told when they reach that level that this is where the real work starts. Trained in all the basics, the next steps are about the little things. The learning is in the doing. Same with study. You know all the stuff, but the real learning comes with each client and each moment. Very profound, Margaret. I love it.
It's true though, Margaret. You're absolutely a genius. I agree with you, Tonia and Margaret. Yeah, absolutely. You know, theory does not equate to experience. So you can have all theory knowledge that you want, but it's the practical application that really gets it. And what you're doing is because you, and this is what Margaret's saying, because you know it all doesn't mean that you know how to do it. It's like knowing the recipe and the method of the ingredients, and the method of the recipe, and then going and trying it for the first time. You go, I know I should be doing this, and I know how much sugar I've got to put in. I know all this, but then you give it a crack, and you sometimes you get it right, sometimes you fail, and then you get to perfect whatever that theory is. So it's a nice little bit. That's. I wonder, Margaret, how are you going with stuff anyhow? I'm really interested because you've got such a beautiful life, entertaining the world in the spiritual way. So I like what you got there. So I'd love to know how you're going, how your clients going,
and how's your new bike, Margaret? Margaret got a new bike, I'm pretty sure too. So I want to see if her ankle's healed up and she's riding. I'd love to hear about that too, Margaret. And I'll go put Kim in. I'll make sure, Kim, that I'll show this to Andrew. Great changes here in Brisbane yesterday. The sun came out for spring, makes such a difference to my mood. I think everyone's feeling that, Kim. Like we've had rain every day. It's so wet. And even riding my horses, it's like if I want to get on my horse, everywhere I go to ride is like water, sludge, slippery, mud. It's like no fun.
Wow, that's tough.
And I agree. I think, Kim, we're all a bit, all this rain and threat of floods, and there's so much of that happening. It does tend to affect our mood. She's ready for a great weekend of Shane Van Gisbergen and winning at Gold Coast.
Gold Coast is on this weekend.
Yeah, supercars. Yep.
How good was Bathurst? It was. Yeah, we won't get into it too much, Kim, but yeah, I'm with you on that. Jen's got some good stuff here as well.
Yeah, I'll just go back to Lorinda. My relationship issues are not about work. I wish it was that simple. My life's in major turmoil and has been for months. So that's pretty powerful stuff, Lorinda. Like it's it's hard enough when one thing's in turmoil, but when you got a couple of things happening, it can be really hard to navigate, along with having young children.
Yep. Yeah. Lorinda, my professional advice on this one here is I would, if you haven't already done this, is go to your GP, just get a mental health plan. So you can go see your psychologist or a counsellor for free. I think it's 12. It went up to 20 visits. I don't know if they've dialed back, but you get at least 12 visits right for free. Pretty much, Lorinda, I would sit down with a professional that's actually been through this before and just to help you get clarity. I mean, like we can help you out as a community, but don't forget, this is the equivalent of sitting around in a coffee shop and having a chat of this is what I reckon would work. Do you know what I mean? And not to know, because we don't know the specifics about your situation. We can only give you superficial sort of support, not support, but advice, I suppose, on that. Yeah. And I think this problem here, Lorinda, needs a lot more time to be investigated and actually give you what you're seeking. So, as you said, be
kind to yourself, and that's where reaching out for help and getting help, because you can't navigate. That's massive. So, be kind to yourself and say you're doing the best you can, but also, feel comfortable in reaching out, because that's what, like Tony shared, that's the support is there for you. And in your situation, you want to utilize that, because, you deserve to have help with things. And sometimes we forget because we just think we kind of stuck, and we forget it until, like you said, Tony, until Tony mentions it, hey, here's an option. Sometimes what's, obvious to somebody is not obvious when we're in it. So, thinking of you.
Yep, absolutely, Lorinda. Thanks. I like that. I like that you've reached out as well, Lorinda. That's pretty cool. Good morning to Geordie. Sean, my friend, those who can do and those who can't teach. That is a line, I believe, Sean, have we ripped that out of School of Rock? Is that where that came from? It's a classic line. I quite like it. Yeah, you're quite good with the movie quotes. Yeah, those that can do and those who can't teach. Yes, I've been a teacher for now 15 years, Sean, so I totally agree with you. Absolutely.
I don't agree with it. I've had some amazing teachers that are brilliant at what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a good quote.
But I'll
it's
pay
quite
that one,
funny.
Sean, all right? Because we haven't had Sean connect for a little while, so I'm giving him those. Hey, Rachel. How's life in Rachel world? We haven't heard from Rach for ages either. I love Karen's got a great one here, Lavender too, which can you get away on your own even for a weekend and have a retreat and have a good think about everything, or even think of nothing at all, just to have some time to yourself? That would be great. You got the support at home that'll back that up. It would be fantastic.
Yeah, and that's the key if you got the support at home. But yeah, it's a great, Karen and Tonia, I both agree. It just sometimes you need to hit the pause button in life and just to, chill out and just allow your mind to settle, allow the emotions to settle, and just go, okay, what am I actually dealing with here? Yeah, just get some clarity on it.
Rich put in here, I've never heard of this before. Ceramind is really helpful. It's just lavender tablets. It's really helped our family with anxiety, stress, and calming.
Okay. It sounds nice.
You just work up a bit of lavender, which isn't unpleasant.
What's a bit of lavender every now and then? It's good. I like that, Rachel. Thank you for throwing that in. That's a really one.
Ceramind. Thanks, yeah, I haven't heard of them. I love lavender. I've cooked with lavender before. It's great.
Yeah, and look, everybody else is agreeing with Karen and yourself, Tonia, where Jen's going, absolutely. It's connected with self and giving the platform to connect with others. Avich goes, yes, time away if possible to reset, rethink for yourself. Yep, what's that? Great advice, Tone. What did I say? Jen, I didn't give any advice.
No, because you put great advice, the mental health, the mental health across psychologists, physio, osteo, and feeling your body is needing something. Yeah. So that's the whole, looking at the whole big picture. And Jen's in Tassie as well. So I don't know whether, Jen, you connect with Rin at all, but you've got somebody that can help you with, a little bit of the natural healing, and then combine that with your psychologist and physio, osteo. Fantastic. We need a human repair shop in Tassie, Tony, I think.
Well, look, there's only one at the moment. We're trying to work on getting one up and going really well, and then once that happens, we'll see what happens. Actually, we're gonna put somebody on at front desk really soon, so I'm excited about that, and then we'll get another physio as well. But that's all beautiful. We're growing.
Okay, Leanne's here in response to me saying, how's it going? Yes, from healer to scaffold queen. This was a massive change that I could never have planned for, which made it very apparent that we are kidding ourselves if we think we're in control. How true is that? However, that is also exciting to me. Change is inevitable, and I count my blessings every day of what I'm capable of, how much I'm learning and how much I've grown. The future is bright. I love it, Leanne. Thank you for sharing that. And, and I know Leanne won't mind me sharing, but the loss of her partner has put, really created her then to step into this scaffold queen business. And, I've known Leanne for a while. Her business, I've always looked up to Leanne because her business acumen is amazing. So I can only imagine.
Boom. Was that a bit Leanne, of a joke there?
You would just, ace at something that you get your teeth into, because you're very clever when it comes to business. So, and I'm so glad to hear that. I'm not surprised at all that you're kicking butt with it, because that is, part of your DNA. But well done, and thank you for sharing, because I love hearing things like that. I mean, I can't imagine, if I was to say be taken off what I'm doing and then go into a field that I really didn't have a lot to do with. I mean, that's massive.
Yep, absolutely, Leanne. Well done as well. Like scaffold queen, man. But I like the one I look up to Leanne. That was quite funny, because scaffold being up, and Leanne got the joke, right? She got it. She totally got it. Well done. No, good on you. You're out there kicking butt. Yeah, I know. And how's Lockie doing? I hope Lockie's doing well as well. So would love to know. Get him into the scaffolding game early, Leanne. That's what I'd say. Yeah, what's he doing school holidays? He's selling scaffolding is what he's doing, Leanne. Getting out there. Kids love to buy, adults love to buy off kids all the time. Now, I want to go back to Lorinda here. Thank you for this. Lorinda comes back. Hey, Kylie, how are you? Good to see you on board. She says, I've already gone to the GP on a mental health plan and seeing someone. I'm doing everything I possibly can. Lorinda, thumbs up to you. Now it's I think what you've got to do now, Lorinda, so you're taking the right steps. Now it's time. So don't rush for an answer. The longer that you can, I suppose, sit with an issue or a problem and start to sort it out, the better off you can do. There's Tonia, you know, that old saying is that, time heals all wounds. And in therapy as well, I think sometimes we go into therapy and we're attached to the outcome or the result, which is I'm in pain. I want to get out of pain really, really quick. If I go see a therapist, I should get out of pain a lot quicker. Yeah, you will. Let's not say you won't. However, what your timeline is and what reality is might be two different things. Yeah. So just enjoy the journey of sitting down with your psychologist. Enjoy the journey of discovery and going. Basically, Lorinda, it sounds like this. Why does my life look like shit right now? And why does it hurt so much? And then when you get to that premise, you go, okay, I'm going to try to work it out. I know it sucks and I know it's painful. I'm going to speak to this, a psychologist or a counselor, and just see what this process is and just surrender. And Lorinda, one of the hardest things is for all of us as human beings is to surrender and to go and go, I'm absolutely rock bottom. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know what to say anymore. I go into a therapy session and go, I'm looking at a psychologist going, what the hell do you want me to say to them? I feel like an idiot at times. And just see what happens. Just surrender to the moment. You're doing really, really good.
Yeah, and Geordie shared a good one. Geordie's got to go, but thanks for sharing the day trips to a place that allows you to breathe is a good one too. I love that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can't get away for a whole weekend as much as we'd love to, but even just going somewhere, you can embrace a bit of nature. It makes such a difference.
Yeah. Avichka goes, he's so brave that you're asking for help. Most people don't even have the guts to do that. Yeah, Avichka, it's an interesting one, Tonia. Look, I went to a fascinating chat the other day of I don't know if I told you about this, the guy that was a former detective, and he was a New South Wales police officer, and he gave a chat to us. We went for a men's mental health group on Friday night. And basically, it was pretty amazing. And he talks about having a mental breakdown, and he basically attempted suicide and failed. He had a bad relationship with alcohol and drugs, went through a marriage. He was absolutely rock bottom. And he got to a point where he did one of his biggest bike gang related bust ever, where he closed down a whole chapel. And it should have been the highest point in his career. And he goes, when he closed that case, the day that he closed it, he felt empty and he felt nothing inside. And then after that, he went down a drinking path, and then he attempted suicide and failed. And then he woke up one morning with no energy. He was absolutely spent. And he rang up work, and he rang in sick. And he took the day off work because he couldn't go in. And his boss luckily went, hold on a second, this is a guy who walks through brick walls. This guy never, ever, ever claims that he's sick. And then, so the boss, luckily, he's the senior detective sergeant, went over to his home and went, hey, what's going on? You don't really get sick. And he started to open up in the first time of 20 odd years of having all this stuff. And he goes, boss, I've got nothing. I'm really ashamed. I'm mentally spent. I'm gone. And he goes, look, go and seek some help. We've got, counselors and that with the police force. Go and see them. And that was his last day in the police force. Absolutely. And he went and saw a counselor. And then a month after that, he was doing counseling, but he was still very ego and he had a whole lot of, he was being masculine about it. And he'd go in there and he'd be trying to outwit the psychologist, really, because that's the game you can get into. But he had one psychologist that got through, and he was standing in his kitchen, and then he was talking to his wife at the time. And then out of nowhere, he dropped to the ground in the fetal position and had uncontrollable crying for at least 8 hours. Just absolutely uncontrollable, like a little child. And this is getting back to Jen. This is some of the stuff where you look at the emotional blocks. This is the kind of stuff that you'd be bringing up, right? Anyhow, he goes back with a different attitude towards his psychologist, and he starts to open up more and more. And he goes, could I have, changed the way that my path went in life, as in with my mental state and everything like that? She goes, yeah, when did you first notice the symptoms? And he goes, 5-10 years ago, I couldn't sleep at night. I was only getting 2 hours sleep, 5 hours max. I was on edge all the time. I was like pumped up on adrenaline. I was a narcissistic asshole, as he puts it. I wasn't a nice person to be around. He goes, I knew I was going down a path, but I couldn't admit it. And she goes, yeah, if you would have seen us just around then or just before then, most probably 5 sessions would have sorted you out. And he goes, and he believes it now. He truly believes it. So Avichka, as you say, just having the guts to speak up can sometimes pay dividends in the future. And he's now a mental health advocate. He goes around all over Australia talking to especially younger kids about opening up and having that chat. So I agree with you, Avichka, there. It is, when you say it's so brave to ask for help, it's true. But nowadays it's sort of like it's the common sense thing to do. Like, just do it. Just ask her. And Lorinda, you're a great example of that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Very, very cool. So thanks for that share.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's big, isn't it? And we sometimes take that, we don't realize that until somebody points it out, like yourself.
Yep, absolutely.
Got some great shares here.
Yep, let's go from what do you got?
Okay, Gaze I love too. Gaze was listening to a podcast. That was really good, great share. Listened to a great podcast last night. It's a little woo-woo, but relates to Scorpio new moon, and it's stirring up emotions from around 2014. So for us, it totally resonates, as it's when our world was turned upside down with Steve's stroke and how life changed both physically and emotionally. That
is a really big, with Steve having a stroke, that's a big game changer. Okay, I totally get that. That is where your whole life changes overnight like that. The way you live, the way you go out, the way you interact, just everything changes. So I'm glad you got a lot out of that podcast. Share a little bit more for us if you can. I love that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Sean's put here, Sean's with wisdom. Tony, if you can't take a vacation, it'd be simple as a bowl of ice cream. It fixes many problems or just changes my perspective. Escapes take on many options: books, music, food, and good company. I like it.
Sean, I like it. I like the ice cream one. It is.
Yeah,
and that would be, yeah, exactly. It's what's Sean's point is, how do you change your perception? That's the key. And that's the key, Sean. You've absolutely hit the nail on the head. You've got it. You're questioning yourself. Can I perceive this problem from another angle? And I love where you're coming from that, Sean. It reminds me of, what, I'll let you on this one. Do you remember, Sean, back in the days, it was a show, I think it was The Young and the Restless, right? It was Young and the Restless or Bold and the Beautiful. I can't remember, but I remember I was a little kid, and there was this lady on that show, and she had this big tub of chocolate ice cream, and she's eating ice cream. I'm about 8 or 9 years old, and she's eating and crying. And I said to my mum, my mind, the cogs in my brain just exploded and went boom. And I go, Mum, the lady's got a whole tub of chocolate ice cream. Why is she crying for? I'd be so happy. And then Mum explained to me what comfort eating was. She goes, she's eating because she's sad. I go, and still in my 8-year-old brain, I go, how could you be sad with that much ice cream? Like, what's wrong with this lady?
I love it.
Yes, but Sean's correct. It's about changing perception. And changing perception is one of the most difficult things we can do. You know what, Sean? The older we get, it's harder to change perception because, we don't like change, and we get very rooted, very grounded in our view of the world. So for a kid to change changing their mind easy, as they're so flexible, they don't care. You tell a kid that, that this is a black cup with white background, they'll believe that. Whereas a normal adult will go, no, it's a white cup with black writing on it, different. Anyhow, Sean, I went off on a tangent. Good point.
Love it. And Lorinda was saying she likes the beach is her happy place, but it's raining. And then Jen's put, go in the rain. I love the beach in the rain too, Jen. I'm with you on that. Lorinda, just go to the beach, put a coat on, and off you go.
Look what Jen, you're a superstar. Seriously. Lorinda Cash, I would like to give you an access bar session when you are ready. Lorinda, jump onto that. Jen, Heart of Gold, I love where you're coming from. It's absolutely beautiful that you're off of that. I think it's great. Really, really great.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful share. Thanks, Jen. That's, there are things that do make a difference when we're struggling, is to just be able to be supported in that way. And Jen's an amazing example of that. Mm-hmm. Rachel needs some inspiration here. We've got Jet has knocked his 3 front teeth out. We're cooking soups, congee, stewed apples. Any other ideas for softer food to cook, guys? I'm running out of ideas.
Rachel, I'm gonna throw a bit of a spanner in the works. I think, with Jet, I think now would be a time to get him to audition for a few movies in that, because that stuff's gold. They do look for kids that have missing teeth because there's a cute element about it, right? You could make good money here, Rachel, is what I'm saying. Like, cash in on the kid. Other than that, what this is not a Tony question. This is a Tonia and a TNT community question. I'm just gonna, Rachel, that was my 2 bits. I should really get out of this conversation, which I'm about to now. I hand over to you guys.
Well, usually with 3 teeth though, Rachel, is it because it's tender? Because he's got enough other teeth to still be able to eat. You would think still be able to chew stuff, and you could go not quite as soft, but I'm just wondering if that's because it's painful for him. Maybe.
Well, look, okay, I'm going to give a bit of science here, a bit of anatomy. You don't use your front teeth to actually chew. You use your molars at the back, so the teeth at the back, where near your wisdom tooth, that's what actually chews up food. That's my 2 bits. Sorry.
Got some great suggestions. John Bill Clinton Smith, hey, I live in Manchester, England.
Manchester. How are you, John? Welcome on board. I'm glad you found us. I don't know how you found us, but I'm so glad you have. John, a couple of quick questions that are very important. Are you a Man City, Man United fan? I know the city is divided around that with football. And not to bring it on a negative, but in Australia, we just watched Ireland beat England in the cricket. I think the first time in history, John. So this must be a shock in the UK, or the tabloids have just decided to ignore that little fact and not put it in the papers today. We were quite surprised in Australia, I'll let you know that much, which is really cool.
Like he said. I live in Manchester, England. I can't even get arrested around here. The women are really fussy. I can't even get arrested.
John, it's a tough place you live in, let me tell you that much. Now, let's have a look. I'm going to go in with Avichka's now. And I think this is where Avichka, I don't mind this therapy. I like it. It's very Eastern European, and I'm going to bring it in. Beautiful. I resonate with it, Avichka. Don't you worry. You and I. We should have our own therapy session, Avichka. It'll be great. Would you like
I love it.
Go on, Tonia. You can.
Okay, Vichka, if you need to let emotions out, sit in the car and sing or scream to help release what's inside. Punching a pillow or screaming into it depends on what you need. Yeah, absolutely. Punching the pillow works great. Just don't have little kids or dogs.
So is this a Tonia Reeves strategy as well? Tell me about punching the pillow.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. When I used to teach Louise Hay workshops, that's what she always recommended: punching the pillow. Or screaming in the car. If you're on your own, you can scream like a mad person and no one can hear. It's like great.
Yeah.
But she used to Louise used to recommend that you release anger regardless of whether you need to or not.
Oh fuck! You got to draw a line somewhere, Tonia Reeves.
It gets stored up in the body. So her recommendation is, even if it's every few days, just release, let the anger out, and then when you're in a situation, and seriously, I've tried it works. When something triggers you, you're not as reactive.
Sure.
Give it a go, Tony. I dare you.
We call that Tourette's, right?
No, Tourette's is only if you're in front of somebody. Then they name it.
Yeah, it's quite funny. But look, I agree with you both, and I love it. Avishka, I remember when I first got into mental health, which was back in 2004, 6, 7, somewhere around that, many, many moons ago. And I remember I was telling my uncle, and he lived on a 1 acre property out in west of Sydney. And I was telling him about mental health, how people have got to go and talk about their problems and release all the anger. And he goes, release all the anger. And he says exactly what you're saying, Tonia, and exactly what, and he goes, you know what you do? You walk out in the middle of the paddock, you scream your head off for 2 or 3 minutes. That's it. Everything's gone. Then you get back in, you go back to work. And that was his solution for mental health. So, look, you guys are saying it works. I agree. And yeah, cool. I like that. It might not be a bad one.
And I love this share from Margaret, right? Because there's a lot of people at the moment that are kind of having that realization of maybe work for themselves or gone into business, really been struggling, and have actually decided they've gone, nah, I'm not doing this, put it aside and gone and got a job where they can go to work, do what they need to do, get paid a set amount every week, and they're way happier. And yet we're all led to believe working for yourself is the answer. But I've had a lot recently that have gone, they've done the working for themselves and said, you know what, I'm just going to go and work for somebody and not have the, to deal with all the business stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not as you know, Tonia, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I think everybody goes in there, but once you jump in, it's a different ballgame. But I'm sorry to hear that you have to shut that down, Margaret. I know you're saying it's gone to something better, but I just do Reiki, like where you don't have to touch people. There you go, you're healed.
But she's happy with what she's doing. So she's had a lot going on the last few months. And that's what I've found with the people that I've spoken to recently that have gone and got jobs, have had a lot going on, and they've just found that the added pressure of working for themselves and getting everything sorted wasn't ideal in the situation they're in. So they've just gone, you know what, park that up and go and get a job, bring some money in, and make it a no-brainer. And they've done it really well. So she finally decided to shut down the massage business. My hand is still not happy from the bike accident. Took a part-time job at a local spiritual shop and wow, found my happy place. Not doing readings, but selling a lot of my signed card decks. Also back to writing and running guided meditation groups. Well done.
Yeah, good on you. There's nothing like good. I think guided meditation. I'd be interested to see what you guys think. Throw it out there. What's your thing of guided meditation groups? Do we need more of them? Do they work? Who's been to one?
I think we do. We definitely do, because it's a number one thing that people struggle with is being able to meditate. And I often, when I recommend it to people, when I'm doing readings, probably 70% go, oh, I've tried it, I can't do it, and they know they need to do it, and they'll acknowledge that. And I always say, find a guided meditation that you like to listen to it as often as you can, to help. But I think for many people, there's so much going on. We're so overwhelmed with information, with, we're on our phone, we're on our email. We're so in that zone of being switched on that actually turning it off and just being in the moment is harder than ever. And things like what Margaret's offering, guided meditation, perfect, absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I agree. I think the group, there's something powerful about doing it in a group as well, which is really cool as well. I'm excited for you, Margaret. Look, doing one-to-many, which is groups instead of one-on-one, is, your impact, Margaret, for many people in the one same session is better than a one-on-one any day of the week. You know that. And there's a lot of power in that. I'm really excited. Jen's got some great advice here for Rachel with the child that's lost 3 teeth. Up and goes. Good call, Jen. I like this one. Up and goes. No, it's not cooking. My now 14-year-old fell at school when he was 8. Thankfully kept his 2 front teeth, broke them. Okay, and then this is a shit recipe, Jen. Bananas pasta cooked well. Like, do you mean a banana and pasta dish, or do you mean like he could eat like bananas on their own broken up and then there was a pasta dish? But if you put bananas, I'm gonna have to pull out my ethnic card here, Jen. You can't mix bananas with a pasta. Now I'm reading that wrong, possibly, but Jen, you've got to understand, somebody's going to read this, Jen, and literally go, I've got to break up bananas and pasta and cook them well. Like, no, like.
That does sound. But I love bananas.
But not with
banana
pasta.
toasty. Yum. Who was talking about that
Yeah.
on one of the shows? Yum.
Toasty's all right. That works, but not with a pasta.
Yeah.
Poor child. But you know what? Clever, Jen. The kid will never break his teeth again. Well played.
Yeah.
Bet your 8-year-old never broke any after eating banana pasta.
So Jen's putting here, crank up the music, sing and dance, put AC/DC on and scream. Agree, Tonia. Energy stores, and it's usually negative energy that gets stuck and then manifests itself into sore shoulders and knees, etc. So, yeah, great share. I love that.
I know.
Jen,
look at all the great ideas we've got for this child coming through. Bolognese from Avichka, shepherd's pie, mashed potatoes, jelly. Genius, Avichka, genius. Sean, mashed potatoes and the top of ramen. Genius. We call that soup. But yeah, great ideas. Bubble Carly. And squeak. When's the last time you had bubble and squeak?
You're still on the food. We're past the food.
I'm hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet, Tonia. Can you tell?
Tony's reading the 1/6. We're on to anger releasing.
Sorry. I need to reset up and just.
Tony's not wanting to acknowledge that.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not intelligent. We've just discovered this, okay?
Tony, but we love it, Tony, because we can see your brain going ping, ping, ping. Banana, pasta, food. That's Hungarian food.
If my mother was alive now, Jen, she'd be trying that recipe out, actually.
I love it.
Kylie's got a lovely time. Has it got anything to do with food?
I can attest to that too, Tonia. When you're a business owner, you are more than the service or the product you offer, etc. Receptionist, manager, in my case, the artist, designer, consultant, personality manager, accountant, etc. Can be a lot of pressure. I'm having wrist issues at the moment. Made me think what I would do if I couldn't ink anymore. And they're the things, and also, isn't it funny how the body will give us messages as in, a bit like Margaret said, you know, if we tend to keep doing something and maybe our path does need to be shifted or changed, that's when the body comes in and says, I might just, create a little bit of havoc here to get us to listen. So
yeah,
and look, I know look up wrist as well.
But I think, Kylie, I'm going to be a medical intuitive, if I can be for a minute, Kylie. I'm just going to channel here for a minute because I know tattooing is your happy place. You love it. You love the people, the interaction, the art, the design, the creation, and then you get a buzz from that. And I get that. And the thing that I know that you love about tattoos is that no job is the same. So there's always the variety of different sort of tattoos that you can do, different personalities and all that kind of stuff. If I was to give you any advice, like with your wrist, and I'm going to go totally off a guess without even assessing you, knowing you in that sense where I felt your wrist physically or anything like that, I'm psychically saying this, Kylie, get some acupuncture done. There you go. That's what I'm channeling right now for you. Acupuncture for your wrist. There you go. Could be a new job I've got, Tonia.
But also I was just trying to look up wrist.
Like I could be a medical medium.
Let me see.
I'd kill it, Tonia.
You would. You're naturally gifted because of your mum.
Yeah. Because of my mum now. It's nothing that I've done. It's always about my bloody mum. And when does Dad come into this? Dad wants to know what's going on too, actually.
Heal your body. All right, I'm just looking up wrist for you, Kylie, because I can't remember what wrist was. W. And it won't be here. Wrist represents movement and ease. That's interesting.
Duh. Could have told you that from an anatomy book.
Interesting. Jen's put yes to acupuncture. Good call, Tony. Making lots of good calls today.
We've got a new show. It's called Tony, the Psychic Medic. And I come on and just prescribe you with. I don't even know if it works. I just use my intuition. Boom, and you can't prove it wrong because I said I got it from the universe. Now, Please don't sue me, anybody. Gay loves it. Yes, Gay agrees with punching a pillow. Well, haven't we discovered something about a lot of people today on today's feed? There's a few pillow punchers on this show that are absolutely proud of it. And I think it's good.
Sharing is caring.
I know. Rachel's got crying in the shower. Oh, that's not that uncommon, Rach. I hear that a lot. Really do.
So you were tuning in. See, she's already been getting acupuncture.
Yep.
And it has been keeping it going. Unfortunately, now I have to get an ultrasound as it's now persisting.
Okay, yeah, just see what's going. Because, see, the problem that you've got, Kylie, is that your wrist, so when you're tattooing, I'm going to imagine this, that your hand has to be in one position, which means it will be flexed like this a lot of the times. Okay, so which means you're going to come up here and you're going to shorten that. So every time you go like that, it's going to put, what happens, the tendons shorten, right? That's what will happen here. And then what happens is the tendons come across your wrist. So as you go to do that, they're already shortened, but they're pulling back, and then it will put pressure across your wrist there. That's the one thing. Or if you're going more like that, that's the other way. So we'll have the opposite effect. What you've got to do to counterbalance that is you've got to do stretches. You've got to really focus and be quite, I suppose, a little bit disciplined around with your stretches, icing and things like that. Yeah, and just see see what the ultrasound comes up with, and see, it'll most probably be a tendon strain, or there'll be a bit of, the problem is you can get calcification within the wrist, which you don't want. Anyhow, moving right along. That's what I do.
So Jen's put here what's happening for her, and not deviating, but again, this is about opportunities and things coming up. I have a connection with a shop owner who hires out a room, and although I can't run the bars through the day due to the music in the shop, I've been offered room after hours, and she's recommending me and will take my business cards for me, and future things are going to happen that I can hire a room and work from home. Woohoo! Perfect. So these are the things, sometimes about looking for different things, isn't it?
Yeah, you speak about that quite often. You talk about, Tonia, the looking for the opportunity and just being mindful of it, and being present to that particular moment.
This is Lorinda's come back too. This has made me smile and laugh. I have to admit, the punching a pillow is something I tend to do, especially after an experience in high school when I used to punch walls, and school social worker made me carry a picture of a brick wall and maybe punch that instead of whenever I felt like punching a wall. Wow.
That's some Lorinda, they don't teach that in psychology, let me tell you that much. But it works.
Isn't it good? I mean, it's just interesting, isn't it? What works? And sometimes things that aren't necessarily, textbook can work. And if that worked for you, it's pretty incredible.
But look, it is. But look, what you're basically getting rid of is a whole lot of adrenaline and cortisol. That's all you're getting rid of. So that's the stuff that stresses you out, gets you angry, and you got to release that. So yeah, Lorinda, punch your way. Get into that picture of the brick wall. You show that brick wall. You get in there and call it names if you want. That's what I'd be doing. I prefer to. I reckon I'd do more name calling than punching the pillow. Like, I'd still punch the pillow, but I reckon I'd slag the pillow at least 4 or 5 times before it got a hit. Like it needs to be told. and then I'd hit it. Because if I didn't say anything, waste of time.
And, because sometimes people are led to believe they need to meditate away all of the things that are around them, but it really is important. And that's the reminder on this show today, is about releasing those emotions that do get stored in the body.
Yep. I like Rachel. Rachel, you are an absolute Zen master, where she goes, I think the most important thing is that everything in life is actually temporary. Nothing is forever. Change is inevitable and can be a great thing. That is, I don't know about you, Tonia. What are your thoughts? I
love that. It's true. Nothing's permanent. And, that's going back to how we started, isn't it? Like, change is inevitable. And certainly, I always think change, and I say that for many people, you might not realize it at the time, but you will look back and go, that was a pivotal moment, and it's a bit like Kylie. you know, we sometimes, you know, it might be 12 months in advance. She might look back and go, that wrist issue was the trigger that then put her on another path that she may not have, you know, thought about prior to that happening. And how often do you hear those stories? Like, you know, I can relate to that in what I'm only here today because I went, you know what, I might go into a psychic development course. I don't know why. I just was drawn to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And Kylie, the other thing, you've got, I agree with Tonia, you've got a beautiful pathway moving forward with what you do and what you're going to do with Pete as well. So that's the other thing that you'll be doing. But you know what I do, Kylie? This is, if I was you, I would start to limit the amount of tattoos that you do, but I would actually be, if I was you, I've seen your work, Kylie. It is amazing. It is I've seen a lot of tattoos in my life, just from being a massage therapist, because you see them all the time on people's backs. Your work that I've seen is actually really up there.
Yeah,
it's some of the best
amazing
stuff. What I would do if I was you, Kylie, I would just put my prices really high and only have top, so you limit to only doing X amount of tattoos a week or a month or whatever. And then just charge top rate. So you're only getting X amount. So you only need 5 clients a month and that will pay your whole month off, sort of thing. And that way you preserve your wrist as well, because you are at that level. You definitely are at that level as a tattoo artist. There's no doubt. Now,
also,
Kylie, I hope...
also another suggestion I'd have, Kylie, and I have seen some, you know, come up on feeds that the tattoo artists have gone more for the art. I don't know whether that would be less RSI for your wrist, but, you know, creating the art and selling the art that you don't actually have to do the tattooing, but you're selling, this is my artwork, and somebody buys that to then get it put on their body.
Ooh, that's interesting. But Kylie likes the end product. I don't want to call Kylie a control freak, but she's an artist. She wants to see it on the skin.
Yeah, but if it's your work, somebody can replicate it. You know, it's a little bit like if you're teaching somebody and they go and replica what you've taught them and they do it bloody well, and you know you've been responsible for it. It's pretty cool.
Kylie's a people's person, though. No, Kylie likes the interaction with the people. She's just like that. She's just like that. But let's get on to more pressing issues, Tonia Reeves. Jen's come back here. Very importantly, Tony, really? Banana pasta? Ha, 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 ha. Separately, darling. Lol. Thank you for that, Jen. I'm glad. And instead she goes, banana and bacon, however, yum. Yeah, I've had that on pancakes or something. Like, Jen, I'm with you. Banana and bacon, yeah, definitely work. Definitely work. I'm with you. And you get the maple syrup, you got the pancake stack. Beautiful. I love it. Yes. But I'm glad the banana and pasta thing has been, that would have been, whoa, that would have been pretty hard to deal with today, Jen. Let me just tell you that much. Because now, you know what, if somebody only listened to that part of today's show, there's somebody out there making banana pasta and they haven't been corrected. I'm saying crazy, but it might work for that person, okay?
I'm going to send Ola a note to say Tony needs some pasta and banana, please.
No. Avichka says that she tries some acupuncture, which is great, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm glad it worked for you. Acupuncture is really weird. It works for some, but doesn't work for everybody. Have you ever had it before, Tonia?
Years ago, yeah. Years ago I did.
Did it work for you?
No, I wouldn't say made a big difference, but it wasn't a major thing that I had either. But I do know lots of people that swear by it.
Yeah. Rachel puts in, Kylie, would it be getting aggravated because of the vibration that tattoo gun? The vibration's not I know what you're saying, Rach, but if it was a direct impact, like if it's hitting like that, and there's that's a different, but having a vibration go through without any force is fine. It's the fixed position that's going to give it to us. So that's a good question though, Rach. Just a little bit of anatomy there. I'm so
Rich has got a good one. This is a reminder and almost like a great wrap up. New moon energy this week. Write it down and visualize it. A perfect time to get what your heart and soul craves.
Yeah. Yay. Avichka's always, you know, I've seen, you know, I'm so proud of Avichka. She's grown up so much on the TNT community. When she first came in, she was just a novice, but now she has pearls of wisdom. I love it, Avichka. It's like your wings have grown. I'm very, very proud of you. Oh, Jen goes, self-talk isn't always good, hun. Jen, in my head, self-talk is never good. Let me just say that.
That's all right. When we go for a job and you want it, obviously you do, or you wouldn't have put in for it. Visualize yourself in the position, going between the two. The universe doesn't know which way you want to go, so it will not take you anywhere. So it's good to be clear. Pete says 10:31, Tony.
Well, I'm still trying to read Jen's comment.
Oh, you're too slow. You're too many. Look, you're reading out stuff that's like 20 minutes old. We're done with that.
Yeah, but it's just, I know. I'm not fast, I'll be honest.
You can read this one as our wrap up, all right?
Great advice, Tony. Thanks.
I feel like the mum here.
You are. I am the child, so... And everybody else is just our family. I love it. Where are we going? Kylie, great advice, Tony. I always get shy about that kind of stuff.
Come on, you got to read this out, Tony.
Thank you. Means a lot. Yeah, Pete has also tried to get me to put up my prices. Yeah, look, Kylie, it's not easy. It's really, really difficult to put up your prices. Only put your prices up with new clients. Yeah. So if somebody's like, let's say if I was going to go and get a tat off for you, just go to your new phase of business, go into whatever that new price is. So I'm going to make up a price. Let's say you charge $300-400 on average for 2-3 hours work or whatever it may be. Go to $600 or $700 or $800, whatever it may be. Double your price. I was told early on, Kylie, by a business coach who was a friend, and I remember when I first got into coaching, she goes, "Put up your price by $120." Now she didn't even know what my base price was, and I shit my pants. I went, I can't do that. I did it anyhow. And I was so surprised, Kylie, that people just went, "Yep, no worries. Is that what it is? Fine." No idea. And I didn't have to do anything else different. I didn't have to change my product. It was the same product, but they were just happy with it. So new clients absolutely go up there. I agree with Pete on that one.
And it's a good segue too. Another point, Kylie, to point out that you're only able to do so many hours a week. So your prices have to replicate that. Otherwise you won't keep doing it. So if you say to people, it's either the prices go up or I stop doing it, they'll be happy to pay more.
Yep, absolutely.
To not lose you.
Yeah, 100%. And I like how you're going in with, you're actually doing hypnotherapy, which is really, really cool. That's and now I take it as a sign from an intuitive Tony. Yes, it's Kylie, I'll tell you what, it's a short-lived career, but I'll take it. Don't you worry. Might be one show, but I'm all over it.
We love it.
Shortest career ever. How long did it last? 30 minutes? 12? I don't know. It's good though. I know, Rach, I should eat breakfast. Do you know what, Rachel? Thank you. I was trying to get a piece of toast with peanut butter and honey on it just before I got, and what happened was when I went to the coffee shop, Rachel, I had two people that I bumped in, two friends up at the cafe, and we started talking, and my time just got, Tonia knows I was here 1 minute before the show went on. My time just went like this. My toasted peanut butter, honey toast, my time went to 0. And I was like, oh shit, I can't. So good advice, Rachel. Thank you very much.
Shopping and you're hungry, not good.
I know. Hey guys, look, we are going to wrap up because Tonia has been talking for a long time today, and sorry, no, it has been. No, you've been great. I've been talking too much. You guys don't talk enough. You talk plenty. No, you guys have been beautiful. Thank you so much for everybody for jumping on board. I hope we've had a great connection this morning. I hope we've had a good chat. You feel like you've been heard and listened to, and you've had a little bit of a laugh. And your contributions towards each other on this group is always really appreciated. I appreciate it. I know that for sure. I know everybody else, you can see the comments that come up. So let's keep the love going. I don't know, Tonia, let's do this next Thursday. What do you reckon? Is everybody else up for that?
Why not? Same place, same time.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. See you later. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care, everyone. Have a great week.